Good day, everyone.
I was born and raised in Detroit. Growing up there, I saw people like me running things.
This is a courtroom, not a circus, so we're gonna calm down.
I'm sorry.
What I found there was a passion that I didn't know existed.
This is the bottom line.
I'm excited to free fall into the limitless possibilities with we the people. So many are fearful of the law. They think it's something that works against them.
I think you need to begin to accept responsibility for your mistakes.
We are the people.
Jordan Parker claims her son got lice from his costume for the school play because the cast members shared hats.
All rise.
Melissa Coles says all costumes were cleaned after every performance, and she had no other lice complaints.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Parker versus Cole. Ms. Parker, you are suing Ms. Cole for $1,287 for negligence. You say the defendant caused an infestation with costumes used for a school production. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Cole, you say all the shared items were handled according to the school standards. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, I'll start with the plaintiff. Ms. Parker, tell me about your case. Why are you here?
My son came home from school back in October complaining he had an itchy head.
How old is he?
He's 7 years old. He is in 3rd grade.
He came home and said he had a itchy head.
He had an itchy head. I thought it was just a dry scalp. You know, getting into the winter, it's colder, it's a little drier. When he kept complaining about it, we took him to the doctor, and it turns out he had lice. Then I remembered they were sharing hats in the school play they did back in October. Not just between shows, but because they all look the same. I could understand, you know, if they're not assigned a specific one. But on stage, they were sharing hats around with the children. So one child would wear it and it would go off and on another child's head, which I think is just a breeding ground for the spreading of lice and any other contagion.
When did your child come in and say the first time he had the itchy head?
2 days after the play.
2 days after the play?
Yes.
And what was the play that he was in?
Pioneers of the Prairie. It was just a little history play about, you know, the pioneers of America. They had these hats, they were trading them around on stage, and no one said that they had lice. I didn't think anything of it, and then my son had it, and the only reasonable thing I could think of was from the hats.
So I want to have you respond, Ms. Cole, the play and the costumes.
Yes, the play was Pioneer of the Prairie, and the costumes, we had hats, and in part of the play, they trade off hats, and that's part of the play. And we didn't realize that we needed to contact the parents to let them know that part of the play is sharing hats. They share hats all the time, and we have the costumes and hats professionally cleaned after every rehearsal, after every performance, and we rotate and give the students new, clean, sanitized costumes that were bagged every time.
But if they're
May
trading
I
them on
ask you
stage,
this, Ms. Cole? Were there any other students that complained of lice besides Ms. Parker's?
There was no report from anyone, any parent, that their child had lice.
And your school policy is after rehearsals and after the play performances, the hats and costumes are cleaned?
Correct. Cleaned and sanitized and bagged.
Did you provide any evidence to the court of that?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
Let me look at your evidence. I'm looking at the hats.
The hats are made of felt. And as you can see, they look brand new, and we have them professionally. We send them out professionally to have them clean, sanitized, and bagged so they are free of any kind of lice. There's no lice in these hats.
So, Ms. Parker, when this happened and you assumed it was the hats, when you talked to Ms. Cole about this and she explained to you the school policy of having these hats cleaned consistently and was able to provide the proof of such as well, did you feel like, oh, well, maybe my child may have gotten it from somewhere else? Was there had they visited a friend's house?
One of the other
Do they have a sibling?
They do not have any siblings if he's an only child. One of the other students in the class did also have lice around the same time. I learned this when I was talking to one of my friends, the parent of this child, and Avery's my first. I was freaking out. There's bugs in my house on my child. I talked to her. She's had 3 kids. She knows how to handle lice. She goes, oh yeah, we noticed and got it taken care of right away. I don't know if she notified the school.
Well, she did not notify the school.
Coming up,
The trading of pieces worn on the head like that from person to person to person could have just not happened entirely. It could have been done differently. And then if there was even a chance that someone had something, it wouldn't have been spread.
and later,
He says the truck broke down, but my bet is he had fallen asleep on the side of the road. He was somewhere taking pills, drinking booze, whatever he was doing.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with a dispute between Jordan Parker and Melissa Cole over a head lice infestation.
If we had a report that someone's child had lice, and she does not report it, she's sending her child to school with lice and spreading it around. We need to have that. We have a handbook.
You're saying, Ms. Cole, you were never notified about this other student. You have
not
no
at
record.
all.
What is your school
Yes,
policy?
we ask the parents to check regularly their own child for lice. There's always common things that go around schools, and they get lice. It happens, and we don't like it, but, that's...
In the school contract as well, you have a clause that says, while the school takes reasonable steps to maintain a safe environment, Ethel Stevenson Elementary cannot prevent the spread of all common childhood conditions. The school is not responsible for treatment costs incurred outside of school.
I believe by having the children exchange the hats between them on stage while wearing them, and because you cannot clean the hat when it's on one child's head and immediately being passed
So
to another.
to the point made in Ms. Cole's testimony, if she has had no prior indication that there are any cases of lice, how then did she breach a duty of care owed to you?
By producing the play and having that scene done in such a way with the trading of the hats in the first place, even if you don't know, someone has lice definitively, or if someone definitively is sick, they still choreographed that scene in such a way where if there was even a possibility of someone having something contagious, lice, the chicken pox, the flu, whatever it may be, the trading of pieces worn on the head like that from person to person to person could have just not happened entirely. It could have been done differently. And then if there was even a chance that someone had something, it wouldn't have been spread.
So you felt like that scene should have just been blocked a different way, and trading hats is a little bit too risky.
When you're working with children.
When you're working with kids.
Yes.
Before you went ahead with this scene, or your producer, director, was there any precaution taken, Ms. Cole, to check the children for lice? Because I see in your contract as well, it says that you do not conduct routine head checks on all students, nor does it guarantee that student environment is lice-free. You won't make that guarantee, because the truth is lice is not something that people usually detect right away.
We seriously care about the well-being and safety of our students, and if we conducted lice checks every day, that's pretty much all we would be doing. That's why we have a handbook instructing the parents to check regularly for lice on their own child. That way the parent doesn't send their kid with lice and then goes to the play without our knowing and then trades hats.
I see this here. It's the parent responsibility to routinely check their child's hair and scalp for lice, especially after school breaks, group activities, sleepovers, and reports of lice in the community, and promptly report any case of lice. So what I'm reading here is quite clear, and this court is charged with trying to figure out, did Ms. Cole, and the way she ran the school and allowed the play to be run, fail to provide a duty of care to your child, which resulted in your child contracting lice? That, at the end of the day, that's the question.
Yes.
I am walking through a contract that limits their liability over and over and over again. It also puts the onus on the parent over and over and over again. And I am not so sure that your child got the lice from somewhere at the school. We cannot prove that right now because we don't really have another proven case. You say there was another case, but we don't know where that kid got it. So this court is trying to see where the school was negligent. And I don't see it. If you're getting the uniforms and the costumes cleaned consistently like they were, if you've already said, and Ms. Cole said it, if they spend their day every day checking for lice on kids all day, your kid wouldn't be learning arithmetic.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be reading books.
That's right.
They'd be standing and getting checked. And this is just one of these unfortunate things that while the play and the exchange of hats may have caused your child to get lice, which has not been proven today, but it still doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. That's really not the question. The question is, was Ms. Cole and the school negligent? And that is the causal connection to why your child got lice. And this court finds it was not. So in this case, your case is dismissed. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I'm sorry that your child got lice. The other boy that got lice, that parent should have been, you should hold that parent responsible.
Maybe I should.
Coming up,
He borrowed my company's truck. He says the truck broke down, but my bet is he had fallen asleep on the side of the road. He was somewhere taking pills, drinking booze, whatever he was doing.
I have sobered up. I have been clean for 3 weeks.
Your Honor, this is the same old story.
you're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. Cassidy Morgan claims she lost a big contract after her brother-in-law borrowed the family work truck and didn't return it on time. Arthur Morgan says he ran out of gas in the middle of nowhere due to a faulty fuel gauge.
Good day, everyone. This is the case of Morgan versus Morgan. Ms. Morgan, you are suing Mr. Morgan for $6,000 for breach of an oral agreement. You say the family truck was taken overnight and not returned on time. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And defendant, you say the vehicle was used with permission and returned as soon as possible.
That is absolutely correct, ma'am.
All right, I kind of feel like I know why we're here. Ms. Morgan, we'll start with you. What happened?
Well, Your Honor, I am in charge of finance and operation for my small family trucking company.
Okay.
The defendant is my brother-in-law. He borrowed my company's truck to do an overnight run in which he was supposed to return the truck by 4 a.m. We needed the truck back by 4 a.m. so my husband could get a new contract, a $6,000 contract, which would have set my family up for the next 2 months. Lo and behold, the defendant, Arthur, does not show at the truck at 4 a.m., leaves us hanging.
Mr. Morgan, I want to hear from you.
Yes, ma'am. I talked to my brother. I said, Connor, can I borrow that truck? And, he said, yeah, and he even took me down to the county clerk's office, and I got my license back and everything so I could drive the truck. And
So you had gotten a job with this truck. You were
That's right,
using
ma'am,
the
yeah.
truck to do a job of your own, to make money. And when were you supposed to be back?
4 o'clock in the morning.
Coming up,
I've done plenty of things that upset my family, and Cassidy's right to be upset with me for that. I have been clean for 3 weeks.
Your Honor, this is the same old story.
you're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake. We're back with the case of Cassidy Morgan, who is fighting with her brother-in-law, Arthur Morgan, over lost business.
And when did you get back?
Around 9 o'clock the next morning there.
And what happened?
That truck took on something awful. It was making a sound like I'd never heard before. And it just up and quit right there in the middle of the road.
Did you call Ms. Morgan and her family?
No, as a matter of fact, he did not.
Now, I tried to. That's it. Like I said, anybody that knows that road knows that you get down there and there ain't a bit of cell service at all that you can see, you know.
He says the truck broke down, but my bet is he had fallen asleep on the side of the road. He was somewhere taking pills, drinking booze, whatever he was doing. Great, he got...
Ma'am, I don't stand up here and act like I ain't never done nothing wrong. I've done plenty of things that upset my family, and Cassidy's right to be upsetting me for that. I have sobered up. I have been clean for 3 weeks.
Your Honor, this is the same old story.
He said he'd been clean for 3 weeks. And you know what? When you're dealing with addiction issues, 3 weeks is a long time. So I commend you for that. I hope you were sober when you were driving that truck.
Absolutely, ma'am.
The
Yes,
issue
I was.
before the court is did you breach the oral agreement?
I have evidence here that proves that that truck was faulty when I took it out. Now, I don't know if anybody knows that or not, but I had to walk 2.5 hours when the sun came up to a gas station. I got a gas can, I got to ride back to the truck, I filled it up. That hand on there, fuel gauge on there didn't change one bit. It stayed at the half tank.
So you knew something was going on with the truck?
I knew something was going on. That thing, it was stuck.
And so, Ms. Morgan, you're very upset with Mr. Morgan, saying this always happens, but you haven't addressed the fact that he says there was something wrong with the truck.
Sure, and you know, and I could try and believe that, and obviously he has evidence for it. But ma'am, this is a repeated thing that he keeps doing. I mean,
now,
how much is too much?
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns. You're watching Emmy-nominated We the People with Judge Lauren Lake.
And I want you to understand, repeated issues are not what's before this court. You came here to sue about this particular incident.
Correct.
So I have to review the facts surrounding this particular incident.
Correct.
Why didn't you make that call?
I was just worried to death about getting that thing running. I didn't think about it.
That's problematic because you knew that there was a huge job that needed to be done at 6 o'clock. And you gave them absolutely no time to try to mitigate the damage. On the other hand, Ms. Morgan, you gave him a truck that obviously had something going on, and that's something, a responsibility that you both share. This court is clear that both parties had a part to play in this missed opportunity to earn the $6,000. Mr. Morgan, I think you could have done a better job at alerting them. And for that reason, I'm going to hold you 50% responsible for this lost judgment for the plaintiff for $3,000. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $3,000.
Arthur, help you figure your stuff out.
Hope you enjoy that $3,000.
All right, please gather your things. Follow me this way.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.